So, my name is Catherine Walker, and this is my government issued ID, and this is my sociology major project. So, the first question I was asked was sociology's significance in my personal experience. So, sociology has helped me become a better friend, a better person, and a stronger person without me even knowing. I didn't realize that sociology could explain all these things, but the first point I wanted to hit was that it's helped me understand how to handle social situations, whether this be disagreements with someone you're not really comfortable like talking about disagreements with, failures, whether that's grades or you didn't make a team or anything like that, and then finally rough patches, whether that's in relationships or just your own personal life. And it has also helped me understand how to help others with a hard time and how to understand when someone is going through a hard time, which kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, so those two kind of go with becoming a better friend, and then the other kind of helps me not only become a better friend but also a better person. Next was sociological imagination and how it helps me understand the impact of sociology in my own life. So the sociological imagination helps me understand that my problems and decisions are influenced by the world around me. I put two examples. The first was going to college. I've never really thought about not going to college. Not that I don't like the idea of anything. I love the idea of college. I just always never really felt like I never really felt like I had a choice. I kind of felt like I always had to go to college. Both my parents were college educated, and I feel like society and my family have kind of influenced me to go. The next example of it was playing a sport. All my friends play sports. Sports have kind of brought me happiness for so long because they keep me active. However, I did choose to not play college soccer. I've played soccer since I was 3. It's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And I had a few offers or interest in me, but I decided not to play because I have known lots of college athletes and former and current, and I think them telling me about their experiences have pushed me away from deciding to play soccer. And so I would like to say that it was solely that I just did not feel committed enough and that I didn't love it enough, but it definitely, me hearing the bad part of it definitely influenced me to decide to not play. The next was some definitions. The first was sociology from chapter 1, the study of society and social interaction. The next was sociological imagination from chapter 1, understanding that your own past relates to that of other people. And then finally, social forces from chapter 1, factors that lead to social change and impact human behavior. Some social forces examples and definitions are culture, social structure, socialization, which I'll talk about later, social institutions, and gender roles. So culture from chapter 1 is a group of shared practices, values, and beliefs. Social structure is a framework of relationships in society that shape how people behave, which I found in chapter 1. Socialization is the process of people understanding societal norms and expectations, found in chapter 3. Social institutions are patterns of beliefs and behaviors focused on meeting social needs, which I found in chapter 1. And finally, gender roles are society's concept of how men and women are supposed to behave, which I found in chapter 2. Next was the explanation of individual and society. So society consists of a whole bunch of individuals, and they cannot exist without each other because they influence each other. Society teaches individuals the wrongs from rights, whether that's how to act, how to feel, how to speak, how to dress. And individuals do not always do what everyone else in society is doing, which is leads to all the divisions and the groups in society. So that is how individuals influence society. Next is individual behaviors that carry significance at the micro level. My favorite example I put up here was communication, including facial expressions, how I greet my friends or how I greet my boss, and body language. How you communicate is super important because it kind of impacts the effectiveness of conversations. And it also affects how you feel about yourself during the conversation and how the other person feels about you during the conversation. The next one I put was empathy, and this is important because it shows people that I care about them and that I care about what's going on in their lives. Next is greeting people with a hug and a smile. This can affect someone's first impression of me, which is super important. A first impression is super important, but it also can just overall make someone's day super, like, that much better when you simply just smile at them when you see them. The next is lending a helping hand. Lending a helping hand can help deepen and strengthen relationships. And finally is practices and traditions. Having your own practices and traditions kind of contributes to a sense of community. It helps an individual feel like they are a part of a group and or a community. The next is identifying examples of socialization that shape my individual behavior or personal experience at the macro level. So I put 2 examples up here. The first was good grades. I talked about this earlier, but society has this idea that college is that is that good grades are super, super important, that college is super, super important, and I've had 3 socialization factors in my life about good grades. The first is family. Like I said earlier, both my parents have a college degree, and they want me to get a good degree. My next is peers. My peers are all getting into good colleges, and I think that is pushing me to get better grades to get good grades so that I can get into a good college. And then finally, society. There's this idea that you need good grades to get into a good college, you get a good degree, and then have a good job, and then have a nice life and live the life that you want to live. And the next example I put was smaller, but it was social media. Social media is super effective in influencing the way that people dress, some recipes they try, hacks they try, how they speak, and changing their vocabulary more. The next is how can sociological theory and research be used to understand the relationship between individual and society? I put the 3 sociological theories that we've talked about in this class. The first is structural functionalism, which is when individuals play roles in society with interconnected parts. This kind of looks at the society affecting the individual and how individuals act a certain way based on their role in the environment or society. The next is a conflict theory, which focuses on inequalities in society. This looks at society affecting individuals' lives and individuals' status in society affecting their opportunities that they're presented in life. And the last one is symbolic interactionism, which is how individuals interact through symbol and how meaning is created. This looks at people finding a sense of self in society, and it looks at the interactions with peers in society and how those interactions shape the individual's behaviors and identity and how they identify. Next is which sociological theory can be used to explain the relationship between individual and society. I put symbolic interactionism, which studies the role of an individual takes to adjust to society. It examines how an individual is shaped by society and how it is shaped by the relationships it has in society. And the sense of self is also constructed through social interaction, which helps explain the relationship between individual and society. So which research methodology can be used to understand the relationship between individual and society? I put qualitative research methodology, which is exploring the meanings and interpretations of human experience. The 2 examples I put were interviews and case studies. Interviews are more one-on-one conversations, and they have an insight on individuals' view on their role in society. The next is case studies on small groups or individuals, and this finds how personal experience intersect with societal impacts. And finally, I would use interviews for 3 reasons. The first being generalizability. Interviews compared to case studies are much better with generalizability. Case studies are a lot harder to generalize because they are based on specific groups and specific individuals that normally have something very different than the norm. Next is that interviews can get onto a deeper level with the one-on-one conversations than case studies can. And finally is flexibility. And simply, interviews are more flexible than case studies with questions and how they can be attacked and things like that. But yeah, so that is my major project. Thank you.